War Eagle Auburn family, welcome back to another edition of E2C Network Live, where we sit down, we get together, and we talk about what's going on in the world of the Auburn family spectrum. We're always heavy on the sports here, but if it's orange and blue, it's what we do, and it's what we may get into. Thank you for joining us, whether you're watching live or on the replay. We appreciate you spending just even a few minutes of your so valued time with us tonight on this live stream. On this live stream, as has been the case for the majority of our Wednesday night live streams, not necessarily during football season, but just outside of football season, it's open mic night. Anything can be discussed. We will be bouncing around everywhere. However, I do come prepared with a topic ready at hand to discuss in case people do not, or just I can't get what they want to actually talk about together. So the topic I have prepared is the carousel that's going on with Auburn football right now. Coaches, players going and staying, all kinds of interesting things to discuss there. So we can discuss a lot of that tonight. But anything is fair game. Doesn't have to be Auburn sports related. It can be Auburn food related. Anything that you guys want to talk about, we're going to be bouncing around a lot tonight. So thank you for joining us. A lot of you already know the drill. As you pop into the chat window, make sure you smash that like button. Make sure you share where you're watching from, city, state, international, and where, a War Eagle as well. I already said where from, but War Eagle as well. So that's how we're going to get things started tonight. It is open mic night or call-in show, however you want to call it. For those of you on Twitter and Facebook, I think you'll have to come over to YouTube to access that link. I'm not sure. We'll figure it out, right? It's usually I always say the best place to watch the show is on YouTube, but it's over there for you guys if you want to take advantage of it. If you want to call in tonight, and you can do so. I saw somebody already trying to take advantage of it. It's just not open just yet. I mean, it's open now because I've set the ticker down below. All you have to do is click that link up at the top, and it'll bring you to a little open web browser thing. It can be on camera or off camera. You don't have to be on camera. It can just be like a voice thing, like you're calling into a radio show, and we'll talk to you live here on the show. So don't be shy. Please feel free to take advantage of that. Love to hear some of your voices tonight and your comments tonight. So we'll get into some of those. Let me say hello to some people who are already here. We got Corey Benson from Hoover. Dusty's in the house from Pensacola. We got Linda. A lot of our Booster Club members, channel members are here. Benjamin Cutler, Neil White. Carrie's here. Good to see you, Carrie. Thanks for being here. Yes, Daniel Carlson is staying. I'm very happy about that. National championship basketball team. I missed the stream. Well, listen, that's what's all. You can always go back and watch the stream. So it's there for you if you want it. Felix, good to see you. Thanks for being here. We got people checking in on Facebook. CJ, KE, Thomas, who's a new channel member. Thank you, sir, for your support. Glad to have you on board as well. So that's how this thing's going to go tonight. I've said our initial hellos, and we'll say hello to anybody else who pops in the chat. You can call in now. Click that link. We'll kind of bounce around the topics. But from here, I'm just going to take whatever you guys are discussing in the chat, and we'll roll with it from there. Let's start off with Dusty's comment. How long before Tank hits the portal? I give it 2 weeks. Now, why do we think that? How long before Tank? Is there some reason? Now, I've been checked out of like social media for the last couple of hours today because I have to at some point. So is Caddy leaving or something? Because if that's the case, I'm just going to cry. I've got that picture back there signed by him, and I will just cry if he's leaving, if that's the case. Scotty checking in from Noonan. Thanks for being here. Kyle, do you think TJ will hit the transfer portal? That's a great question. Without another quarterback coming in, I don't see a reason to think why he would. It's his job as of this moment, whether you like that or not. And if someone else comes into the mix, that can certainly change things. But at this moment, I don't really, I really don't know right now. Kyle getting fancy with these streams. What's fancy about it? Is it just the new lighting, the new, thing? I guess webcam is what you call it. Come on, Kyle, use your words. That's potential as well. Let's see. Why are people upset at Hudson leaving? Don't let the door hit you on the way, or the good Lord split you. So listen, I would caution you, Big Simp, and I love you, but don't just assume that it was a bad. How do I say this properly? I think it's obvious there was some probably disagreements there with the way things exited right there for Kobe Hudson. I understand that people are upset because it does put us in a strenuous situation at wide receiver without some leadership. I understand that sometimes people just don't want to stay through a regime. You see a lot of people leave right when a head coach gets here, and then you see some people stick it out for a year. And if they don't really like the way it's going for them personally, they leave, and that's their choice. I'm upset because I was hoping we were going to see a great year from him next year, and I think that's probably why a lot of people are upset. Carrie, please do call in. It's open for anybody. Going to lose our D-line coach. Now, that is not official yet, right, Greg? Can anybody confirm that? Because I've been looking for official. I've seen one article that said they hired him, but every other one at the time was saying it's likely that they hire him. That being our defensive line coach. He's a Clemson guy. It would make sense that Clemson would try to hire him away. He's got a good NFL pedigree. It's a good pickup for them. You know, the good thing is when you see coaches getting hired away, you usually want to see them getting promoted, not taking lateral moves. Promotions are good things for like a coaching tree type of situation, but it would make sense for him to potentially go over to Clemson. So it's not that I would be upset. It's always a shame to lose someone from the Auburn family. Do I think Zach Calzada would be a good fit for Auburn? Talking about football. It's a great question. I watched Zach Calzada really for one game truly this year. And I would not say that I'm an expert on whether he would be successful here at Auburn. If I remember correctly, he was fairly mobile, which would be kind of what Bo was for us. And that seemed to work the best with what the offense was doing at the time with Bobo. How Harsin does it better will remain to be seen. I don't know. There's a lot of those big questions out there that's really hard to say. At this point, I think basically anybody could fit. We just need to make sure we fit the offense to the personnel that we have. Real quick, I want to give a shout out to Big Simp, who just became a channel member. Whoop, 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 whoop. And one day I'm going to put, like, if I can, I don't know if I can on this system that I use, but sirens and stuff like that. You can become a channel member too here by hitting that join button. It's easier to get to it on a desktop. Sometimes it's a little hard to get to it on your mobile phones if you're watching there, but you just hit the join button. That's $1 a month. You get access to little emojis and, you get a little icon next to your name for however long you've been here. Stuff. It's a roll of toilet paper, orange and blue toilet paper for Tumor's Corner. So there you go. But thank you, sir, for joining up. We appreciate that. Give us your opinion on Wendell Green performance in that game. Outstanding. I believe when we talked about it last night, he was the leading scorer off the bench. He's a starter without being a starter. He was in the starting lineup. And then all of a sudden, Bruce made this swap because Katie was just playing out of his mind and deserved to get a chance to start. And now you found this rotation that works where the guy basically plays starting minutes, but doesn't start. So he is a starter without being a starter, in my opinion. Some website called Fly War Eagle says Caleb Williams is coming to Auburn. I don't know the people at Fly War Eagle, but they've been around for a while in publications, so they might have some information there. I haven't seen it floating around, so you haven't seen me commenting on it. I've seen a lot of rumors, a lot of speculation, but we had fun with predictions earlier this year. A lot of you know what I'm talking about. Felix asks, kind of general, are we going to go for the transfer portal for a quarterback? Again, it's really what Coach Harsin wants to do. He sounds pretty confident with who he has here, whether it's TJ, whether it's Demetrius, whether it's Holden. But, if you're not confident in TJ, then maybe you want to give Demetrius and Holden another year to develop, then that can be obviously something that you do. Calzada from A&M is visiting this week. Is that official? Corey, can you confirm that? Is that some of an official site? Thomas says, we hope for Canyon to have a great year this year. I'm more excited about Jackson staying and the incoming freshman. So the two big announcements today, Shed Jackson and Anders Carlson deciding to stay. That's huge. That is really, I don't think the fact that Shed was wise enough, and I said this in the video that I made this week talking about this, to see, while I may not be the marquee receiver, probably by the end of this thing, I'm the leader. This is my team to take, my unit to take over and take ownership and leadership of. As a legacy guy too, being Bo Jackson's nephew, you love to see that. Like, I'm so fired up for Shed. He's already been one of my favorite players. Not saying he's a perfect player, but I am so excited that he has decided to play another year. Couple that with Anders Carlson. I am a kicker, former kicker, and I cannot tell you how excited I am for Evan McPherson, but I can't even tell you how excited I am now that Anders is going to come back for one more year. We know he's a solid quarterback, higher than solid. Is he as good as his brother? His stats don't say it that right now, but I'll take him over pretty much anybody else in the league. Then you redshirt Evan McPherson, and you've got him for another 4 years. So even if Honors were to get hurt again, we're fine. Like, Alabama wishes they could be this good and solid and depth-wise at kicker. Now that's two kickers eating up a scholarship. It's kind of, we can get into numbers and things like that. It makes things a little frustrating, but still, I am very happy with what has transpired today, even with the news of Eason, our defensive line coach, potentially leaving. Kyle, do you like Star Wars? Well, we can get into anything. I actually do. There is a wall over here that you guys don't get to see. I do another YouTube thing, not as much as I do this. It's actually where I kind of started experimenting with YouTube to do all that, to learn to do all this kind of stuff. So there's a bunch of Star Wars stuff right over there. Love Star Wars, if you're curious. If that's what gets people to join Big Simp, I'm going to fuss at every one of you. Every one of you need to join right now. No, seriously. In all seriousness, though, no one should become a Booster Club member or a channel member here unless they feel they can financially do that and feel that what they get here is good enough to warrant that stuff. But I thank you so much for being willing to do that. Carrie, does it cost money? Yes. $1 a month here on on YouTube. You can become a channel member. It gets you those little small things. Then there's the Booster Club. I'll bring it up since you guys are asking about it. I know it feels like a commercial for me right now, but since you guys brought it up, the Booster Club, you can go to patreon.com/E2C network and join up there. That starts at $1 a month and goes up just a little bit over the amount that you commit to and the things that you get with that. We'll be recognizing some new ones here coming up very soon. I lost my place on how to get rid of the banner. There it is. Still learning this new system a little bit. It's nice. It is nice, but it's still getting used to all of that. Wasn't Kobe the leading receiver? He was. And so again, I did a video, an edited video earlier this week. I think it was 2 days ago, where it kind of showed you the breakdown of how he was the leading receiver, what areas he was. I think it was every area. I think he was tied with touchdowns with Shanker, maybe. But yardage, catches, all that stuff, he was the leading receiver. So it's a big, big loss. And then you've lost some other guys. And so that made Shanker, in that scenario, if Shed had not come back, the leading receiver, which is, it's not a bad thing because he was the most reliable all year. But at the same time, you really don't want to have that happen. Yes, Kessler is becoming... I'm honestly shocked, and I don't know why. It's not that I didn't think Kessler wasn't going to be good. I just didn't expect it this early. He has just risen to the occasion in the SEC, and it's tough in the SEC. Clint's everybody. Everybody waved at Clint. Clint is my buddy. He is with the Auburn Uniform Database. If you haven't checked that out, you need to do so because he does everything Auburn aesthetics and is a very big Auburn tradition history buff. You need to follow Clint on social media and check out the Auburn Uniform Database. Josh, we kind of brought that up already. What about Caleb Williams possibly coming to Auburn? If he comes, great. But I'm not going to really stress about it because I'm happy with who we have. And I'm not directing this at Josh or anybody else that's super focused and excited about Caleb Williams. I think we've got still way too many people focusing on trying to, and when I say this is going to sound bad, you always want to focus on trying to win a national championship, but you also have to face the reality of what you're working with. We've got so many people wanting to hit the home run, and then they end up frustrated at the end of the year, as opposed to realizing what you're having to work towards. Auburn is not going to win a national championship next year. I'm going to go ahead and say it right now. I don't care who they bring in. I don't care, what transfer, what other coaches we bring in and stuff, what transpires. I'd probably say the same thing if Bo Nix was still here. I'd probably be a little bit more confident that if he was still here, but he's not. So I think we will have a better year. And what will happen in the offseason will determine whether or not we get to a place where we can say, well, we could probably expect a little bit more this year, maybe 9 wins, maybe 10 wins. SEC and national championship seems pretty far off at this point. Great question. On top of that, if we go to the portal for a quarterback, does Demetrius Davis leave? It feels like he would, because that feels like another time he's been passed over. I'm not Demetrius Davis. Every time it's been brought up, you've seen him go on social media and say, no, I don't know where you guys get this from. I'm not leaving. He seems locked in. But you kind of have to ask the question, and he's having these questions with the coaches and these conversations. When is my time? When do you guys trust me? When do you give me the reins? Is it after TJ? If you bring this guy in, is it after them? I would think if he stays, if we bring another transfer in, if he doesn't get the reins after that, he's gone. If not, when this guy comes in. Benjamin's going to go ahead and call it and says he's deaf coming at you. Well, we'll be celebrating when that happens, but only when that happens. I'm not going to worry about it too much right now. Dusty brings up the point, no QB is coming with O-line in its current state. Who's going to block for him? Well, I would say, Dusty, and we've talked about this a lot, that, we got a changeover happening on the offensive line, which unfortunately is going to be a good thing. And I say unfortunately because I hate to say that about some Auburn guys, but they have not gotten the job done as a unit. I'm of the opinion that maybe some of the ones that weren't cutting it together, at least working well together, have moved off. I probably am wrong on that. Some of the ones that could potentially stay that haven't announced anything yet, Austin Troxell, Nick Brahms, they might be good holdovers to keep to work towards the next phase of this offensive line, because that's the big thing. And when I talk about next year not expecting a national championship, it looks no further than the offensive line. David, I guess you're saying about with the leg coming back. Yeah, it's going to be hard for him, to get drafted at all, much less without a hurt leg. It's also going to be harder for him to get, someone to pick him up with that injury. So he's going to need another year to prove everybody that the injury didn't matter and I'm back. Thomas, great point here. And you're just like playing directly into my heartstrings. I am a humongous Cody Burns fan. He, to me, is the epitome of what an Auburn man is. And the fact that he willingly gave over his rightful job as the starting quarterback so that the team could move forward. I'm a little bitter about that still. And was a bigger man and said, no, you get behind this guy. And, the rest is history. And he ends up being the guy who scores the opening touchdown for the national championship and has all those wonderful moments. So Cody Burns, when you say take the Cody Burns role, that's a place of great honor when it comes to mind for me, because that's the type of person that you think of like that. And I think Shed can do that as well. Big Simp, do we lock Pearl into a never leave contract now? Those are hard to do. There's one coach somewhere in some sport, I know that's so specific, that has something similar to that, but I don't think there's anybody that has a specific you cannot leave clause. You can't force someone to stay, but you can make it really, really hard for that. Yes, I'm a humongous Carrie. It's like me or something. It's really weird. I'm a humongous Spider-Man fan, way more than Star Wars. I love, 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 love some Spider-Man. Somebody wants Dusty to call in and get angry tonight. I think Dusty said last night when he called in, was it last night or the night before that? Said, I feel like you know me now and you're playing towards something with me. Yeah, I think everybody knows you now, buddy. They can get you riled up about something. Okay, a little bit behind in chat. Autumn's here. Good to see you, Autumn. A little joke between us there. I'm 7-6, and I lost 5 in a row. I'm salty. Yeah, I get you, buddy. I understand. Trying to catch up in chat here. We might have to skip forward through some of them just to kind of keep up with everything here. So you can keep asking your questions if we didn't get to some of them. Get Nick Fairley, unbeaten leg, says for defensive line coach. He's not playing anymore. I don't know that he's coaching right now. If there's anyone that knows how to be an outstanding defensive lineman, it is Nick Fairley. Sure. I mean, it sounds good. To me, I find it interesting that Nick Eason's got all these articles written about him. And then as of this moment, no one's been able to confirm to me that that's true. There may be conversations, but the fact that it's taken this long to become official tells me he hasn't reached terms with Clemson that he likes, or Auburn has countered, which tells you something about the pedigree of coach he is that if Auburn's willing to pony up to keep him, that's a good sign for us. A good sign. Carlson going to get drafted by Vegas and put his brother on the bench. The way his bench is playing, the way his brother is playing, he's going to be on the bench because no one's touching Daniel Carlson right now in the NFL. Dude is ice cold, and it's even colder in Minnesota than it already is, knowing that they got rid of him. Josh, great question, which we will have no answer to. How long do you think it will take to build an offensive line? 4 years. Or I could say, a Pat Dye related 60 minutes. It really depends on who meshes well with what we have. I think what we had happen during the last few years of the Malzahn era and finally kind of concluding somewhat this year was a group of talented guys that were highly sought after. They're brought together and could not mesh well together and had schemes change on them several times. And when you look at the context of the situation, it just kind of compounded upon itself and made it even worse. It's 50% their fault. It's 50% the circumstances of the situation, but they could never get it together. So it starts right now. In perfect world, we'd pick 5 brand new ones and say, you guys figure it out for the next 4 years, get it figured out in 2 years. I would say it's doable in 2, personally, but I don't know that you're going to see that happen. And the offensive line is in a bad state. Let's see here. Is Auburn getting any new wide receivers? I haven't really heard a lot of discussion about that with Shanker and with Shed deciding to come back. I don't know that there's going to be a lot of space. You got to remember that too, with this extra year that everybody has, eats up some scholarships that you thought you were going to have available. I don't know, maybe, potentially. Is this my Jared Davis? When I say my Jared Davis, I mean on the booster, or one of our E2C network contributors. Is that you, Jared? Would love Aaron Murray have to call an AU game that Fairley was coaching. He will whine so much, and his mom will whine so much. John, good to see you. Thank you so much for being here. He's one of our channel members and Booster Club members. Yes, it is Jared. Good to see you, buddy. Thanks for being here on the live stream. You should call in, Jared. You should do it. Link's right up there. Just click on it. You don't even have to be on camera. We need to hear your voice. Brandon Council, I think, has decided he is not coming back. I believe. Could be wrong, but I believe that's already a done thing. For Darius Ham, Tayshawn Manning. So really that leaves Austin Troxell and Nick Brahms to decide, with Jalen Irvin staying over, with Keandre Jones staying over. Those two are younger, so I'm willing to give them some little bit more time. Greg says they're claiming Derek Mason is on the short list for Notre Dame DC. I've seen that as well. I think it should go and show you how highly coveted he is, and that we're thankful that we still have him at this point, that people are already seeking him out. But we'll see here. All right, we got Jared calling in, although all I'm getting is static, which is absolutely outstanding. Jared, are you there?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
I can hear you, but all we're looking at is like a rainbow effect here on your phone. Can you still hear us? All right, Jared, if you can hear me, buddy, call back in. Try one more time. I'll cut you off and then try that one again. Okay. Real quick, I want to give a shout to my friend Vernon Speaks Sports. If you haven't, please do check out his channel. He does a lot of great work over there. Thank you, sir, for that super chat. You are too kind and too generous, and I appreciate it. I don't deserve how supportive you have been in many ways to my small little channel. It's disappointing that Manning left. He could have been a starter next season. Now, remember, and I could have this wrong, Carrie. Tayshawn Manning, first of all, I believe he's the one that went through cancer and fought through that all stuff. I have that correctly. He lost his starting job, and he lost it to Keandre Jones. So, yeah, he could have been a starter next year, but unfortunately, there was a reason for that. And so I think that I'm not so certain that he would have won it back necessarily. All right, Jared, try one more time. Are you there, buddy?
Yes, sir. Is that better?
Well, the video is still, you know, that image that you got sometimes when a channel went off the air and it was just a bunch of colored blocks and stuff?
That's all you get from me. That's like a visual of my brain.
I feel like this is some like secret stream that you're coming from. You can't reveal your face.
Yeah, I'm hanging out with Caleb Williams, and I can't show the location.
Don't stir that up tonight.
Sorry, guys.
Please don't stir that up tonight. You're going to have people believe in that.
I'm not hanging out with Caleb Williams. I'm not cool enough to hang out with any athlete, even walk-ons.
But you sure do want him, don't you?
I would take Caleb Williams.
Here, let me remind people, for those of you who don't know, we do a podcast alongside this YouTube channel, and Jared and AJ are the co-host of No Huddle, our football podcast. So you probably, a lot of you recognize his voice, even though we can't see his face to go with that very masculine voice.
Yeah. Something like that.
But so this is good. I think this is why maybe your first time calling in.
Yeah, that's probably why I messed up the first time a few minutes ago.
It's fine. It's whatever. We'll just chalk this one up to technology. You never can tell with these things. So what's on your mind tonight?
Just the roller coaster. You're losing Hudson, and there's rumors of Caleb and Caleb's receiving buddies going wherever he goes. And then you're like, well, that's not going to happen because good things haven't really happened to Auburn in 5 years. So I don't know. They have Calzada apparently is at Auburn this weekend. Him and an offensive lineman maybe from somewhere in Louisiana, or is it I don't know. There's an Ivy League guy too. I don't know which one's here with him.
Yeah, there is so many names being mentioned about who's coming to Auburn at least to visit, that's, to me, I can't keep them all straight, so I just wait for the official confirmation at this point.
It's what do you think we're gonna do? You think Eason is gonna go to Clemson?
So I don't know if you were watching when we were talking about this a few minutes ago, but I find it interesting that this got reported and nothing's transpired of it yet. So is that a case of he can't reach the deal that he wants with Clemson, or has Auburn started to pony up the cash to keep him? You might be a mixture of both. There might be a bidding war going on. As of this moment, no one's been able to confirm to me that that's actually happened. So the fact that it got reported and hasn't happened yet tells me there's something else working in the behind the doors, so to speak. That's kind of where I'm at on it. I think I don't even know. It kind of was odd to me that he wanted to go. He's a Clemson guy, so that makes sense. But at the same point, it's just kind of like, why? He seemed like you were building up our defensive line back up and doing a good job there. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, our D line could be nasty next year. I mean, with the people that decided to come back, and the Jeffrey Imba guy has already tweeted that he's committed to Auburn and Harsin, so he's not doing anything. So
yeah. I don't know. If he goes, I don't think we'll be devastated. And I hate to say that, but I also think he would benefit from staying with us with the group he's got coming back. I also find it interesting that all these guys wanted to come back on the defensive line, edge rusher position, and now he's wanting to go. Now, you don't have to tell your players everything, but you feel like they would have an inkling that something was going to go down. So even if that's the case, they knew about this, that tells you something about how happy they are with the program, how excited they are for next year if they still wanted to stay. So we could all take, solace in that.
Well, let me ask you this. Who is Auburn's starting quarterback next year? Is he on the roster right now?
As of this moment, yes. Because I'm not, just because for my own sanity, I'm not willing to entertain people until they actually commit or sign the papers to be on campus. Look, there's a part of me that wants TJ to have his legitimate chance, because I don't think he's had the legitimate chance yet. You can't tell me that in 3 games he was handed the best possible scenario to show that he was going to be successful. Now, I've seen some things from him in 3 games I don't like, but again, I'm trying to be lenient. So I'd love for him to get the opportunity, but there's a reason he was the backup this year. So if Demetrius Davis takes leaps and bounds ahead, start him. If he wins the battle in practice, start him. So as of this moment, I am going to say that our quarterback is on campus. Maybe he's already on campus recruiting one, just there visiting to kind of make people think that again. I would say he's already on the roster as of this moment. I know that's not the fun thing to say because, everybody's excited about the potential of what could happen. But what do you think?
I don't know. I really don't know. I don't, from what I hear Harsin say about Holden and what I've read at the UA Under Armour practices last week, I don't think that's out of the question. He seems to be very mature. We went 9-3 with Bo. People forget that as a true freshman.
Yep.
That's not ideal, but it would not surprise me at this point if anybody was quarterback, honestly.
Right. Well, it's wide open. And again, as a lot of us have already talked about, it doesn't really matter who's quarterback until we get the offensive line fixed.
Yes.
Because you can be Cam Newton couldn't work miracles with with this year. And he did some magical things. So you see what, and here, watch this. Look what happened to Cam Newton once he got to Carolina and they stopped giving him help on the offensive line. He got hurt. He wasn't able to do the things that he could do, especially at the start of his NFL career. So it goes to show you can be the best athlete ever in Auburn history. Well, I shouldn't say that Bo Jackson was, but you can be the best quarterback athlete and still struggle because you're not getting any support. So even if Caleb Williams comes, even if who's the best quarterback available still this year? Not available, but next year coming back. You got any ideas?
Period, like in the portal or overall in college football?
In college football, who's the best? Bryce Young?
I mean, I hate to say it. Yeah, probably right now, so Bryce Young.
Bryce Young can come here and he would lose. He'd have to give his Heisman back because he'd struggle so much with our offensive line.
Well, I know we could go on all day, but if you go watch the Super Bowl last year, I mean, Mahomes was like, he had no protection and he didn't do well. I mean, like Patrick Mahomes is the best quarterback on the planet. And
it's the boring thing to talk about, but it's the truth. You win and lose at the line of scrimmage on both sides of the ball. That's it.
Yeah, and I've told people, so everybody wants to talk about, is Harsin going to make it? Is he not going to make it? I have no idea. But I think he gets it. I think he knows where the game is won and lost. Now he's got to start bringing those guys in. But I think he absolutely understands that it's one on the 2 lines.
Yeah, he understands it, but get fixed.
You got to get him in.
Yeah, that's the key right here. Well, hey, buddy, it was good to hear from you tonight. Call in more often. Love to hear from you.
Yes, sir. War Eagle.
Right. War Eagle, Jared. All right, that was Jared from our not Inside the Jungle, No Huddle podcast. Keeping all these podcasts and videos straight is just rough sometimes. You can call in too. Click the link that's pinned at the top of the chat here on YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook. People, I think you'd have to come over here to actually be able to click it. If you want to type it in, that's fine. But that's how you can access that, and you can be on camera, not on camera, kind of on camera like Jared just was. Take advantage of whichever way you'd like to. Keep the comments and questions coming here. Larry asked while we were discussing that, how many games do we win in 2022 if TJ starts? And I think as of this moment, TJ, based on what we know, out of the 3 options that are there, would give us the best options to win as of this moment. We've got a whole offseason to go to see how Demetrius Davis does, to see how Holden does. And if nobody else came in, I would say that looking at the schedule, I could see a scenario where TJ could lead us to an undefeated 5-game stint at Auburn. because there's 5 straight home games. When we get on the road, it's going to struggle a little bit, especially with a changing and learning offensive line and some other areas as well. We're going to have probably some growing still to do at wide receiver, unfortunately. So that's going to probably rear its ugly head then. It's probably, I'm saying 8-4 right now, the way things look. And it's going to be the traditional, you question Alabama, you question Georgia. You probably still question Texas A&M, and you probably question just LSU just out of the sheer nature that it is LSU, and they'll bounce back. I'd love to see Demetrius Davis play too, but if he's not starting, there's a reason for it. Thomas, I missed the 2004 O-line and the 2013 O-line so bad. Yeah, they were pretty good. That 2010 O-line, though, that was Byron Isom, Mike Berry. Those two guards, just watching video of them pulling with Coach Malzahn's offense, like it was so fluid and so good. Now, Lee Zimba couldn't stay still to save his life. And actually, here's the funny thing. I'd actually joke around with Lee Zimba if he doesn't know me, but I know his wife because I went to school with her. So there's actually an opportunity that I could run into him and joke around with him about that. And he knows that. I mean, every time there's a flag throw, we're like, oh, Lee, there he goes again. Oh man, I miss those days. They were fun when we had an offensive line that you just salivated over. Let's see here. Oh, we got some mean comments going on in there about TJ. I'm not going to do those. Kyle, do you think that the best Auburn player is Bo Jackson, not Cam Newton, maybe Cam second? The best athlete in the world ever is Bo Jackson, hands down. You might have Jim Thorpe be in that category. That's probably your other one. All right, we got our second caller in. You know him. You love him. He's Mr. Dynasty. Somebody get him riled up for me.
Oh, no. Basketball season, baby. It's all good.
You a happy man now, aren't you?
Well, it's basketball season. There's nothing to worry about. We're not going to lose again.
I mean, I don't want to say it, but you know what I want to say. I'm starting to believe. I really am, Dusty, and I need you to bring me back down to earth. That I don't.
I'm not the guy to do that with on basketball.
It's not fair for us to have this good of depth and talent. It's not fair. It's illegal. It should be. I'm sorry.
Here's the thing with the basketball, dude. In Birmingham on a walk-on scholarship.
Yes.
I mean, we're just so deep. Some guys are going to get hurt. I guess it's been a good season so far, but guys are going to get hurt. You got guys that are getting playing time that can step up. We're doing this without our second best player. Really, he's played a game or two. The basketball. This is something. Now, don't anybody take me like some crazy person. I'm a follower of Jesus Christ. I do though believe in the sports gods. I do believe in basketball gods, and Virginia double dribbled.
I knew that was
they
coming.
owe it. The basketball gods know it. They owe us one, and it's coming this year.
It sure feels like it. I won't say it publicly because I just feel like I'll jinx us, but it's almost too easy. And when we talk like this, we're not saying we're not going to lose another game. There's some other great teams out. UConn beat us because they found a way to beat us early on. There's going to be other teams
undefeated in regulation.
Yeah, that's true. I just don't see it happen a lot this season. LSU was supposed to be the best of the SEC, and we made them look silly. And now, granted, it was at our home court. I'd like to see what happens down in Baton Rouge. We won't see that this season because that was the last time we'll play them in the regular season. We might see them in the SEC tournament. But, Kentucky looks beatable. Alabama sure as heck is beatable. Ask the people that have already done it. I'm trying to think. Florida hasn't been that great over the last, Arkansas will sneak up and get you every once in a while. Who has the best chance of beating Auburn in the SEC? Who do you think?
Ole Miss. And do they have the same coach?
That's a good one.
I'm assuming they have the same coach. He's locked
Kermit
up.
Davis,
he's locked us up, man. He's locked us up. He's locked up, Bruce.
Yeah. Well, you remember it was Andy Kennedy for the longest time, and Andy Kennedy is a good coach. He's at UAB now. He frustrates me. Kermit Davis
bald
is their
guy?
coach. The bald guy, the tall, lanky bald guy is now at UAB. He had us on lockdown. You remember Marshall Henderson?
Yeah.
You remember Marshall Henderson?
No, I just remember the tall ball guy. Every time we like 60 was the limit. We weren't getting over 60. That guy locked us up.
But Kermit Davis is a good coach too. Ole Miss, for some reason, you always have that team, and no matter what sport it is, that just has your number. For the longest time in football, it was Auburn and Arkansas. It didn't matter who the coach was.
Yeah.
Arkansas would just find a way to beat us somehow, some way. In basketball, it's Ole Miss. I go into a season planning to lose to Ole Miss at least once, just because that's what happens. There's going to be a night where the ball doesn't go in the hole. The ball bounces the wrong way several times, and there's going to be reffing situations. So I really think, though, most times when Auburn handles its business outside of conference play, that's going to be a little bit more in question. I hate to say it, but it's looking pretty good. I don't hate to say it, but I feel like I'm jinxing us believing this hype.
Oh, I mean, before I get off on talk about how great the basketball team is, I would like to make the point that I heard for like 20-something years about how we did not win a football game in Baton Rouge. If you were into that kind of stuff, you should look up how long it's been since LSU has won in Auburn in basketball. It's been a little bit now. They're starting to become a streak there. Also would like to point out to LSU fans that you have lost 2 in a row to Auburn in football, and you lost a couple of recruiting battles. So whatever y'all putting in them corn dogs, you might need to fix that. But it's the guards, Kyle. It's the guards, man. Like, is it though?
Have you seen that front court? Have you seen one Walker Kessler blocking shots? It's everybody, man. It's everybody.
I just love, like, if you're bringing Wendell Green off the bench, and then if Jasper is if he's gonna give you what he gave you offensively last night, which I know it's not a ton, but like if he's gonna give you that on top of what he brings you defensively, like, it's just, we can play any game. You want to run the court, we'll run the court with you. This is the first team that Bruce has had that I actually like. The half court offense seems to be some organization. Like, we're running some plays. It's not just Jared and Bryce jacking up crazy shots or whatever. There seems to be more plays. I've quit watching the NBA for personal reasons, but when I grew up on it, I grew up on Kobe. Like, that's my guy. And Jabari with those mid ranges, man, like he'll switch over to the left hand real quick and come back and pop that mid range. And I feel like I'm in a time machine back in like 2008. I love it.
The crazy thing is as good as Auburn basketball has been even in previous seasons, what we didn't see consistently is some fundamental things. Backdoor cuts with beautiful passes, bounce passes from big men, no less. We haven't seen that a whole lot, and we haven't seen a lot of mid-range jump. Yes, we haven't seen a lot of mid-range jumpers, and these are basic fundamental things. This is me as a basketball. I'm a three-point shooter, and I always have been and I always will be. And I recognize that I need to be better at, inside the arc, but you just can't pass it up. But we got guys now looking to drive and then pop and stop, and not just either drive it to the hole or stop and shoot it from 3. I agree. I mean, it's guard play, it's front court play, but the guard play has just been, I think, the thing that's been killer to some teams this year when they play Auburn, is because now it's on tape. They know Walker Kessler is going to block their shot. Why you continue to drive at him, I don't know. That's just stupid. Jabari is going to be Jabari. You can only hope to contain him, which they did last night, and it didn't matter, because what happens is the guards will just come out of nowhere and kill you. Just they're coming down a dark alley and you never saw it coming. Whether it's KD, giving up the ball but taking it right back. Whether it's, I'm going to shoot it from half court every second I get, Wendell Green, Zep Jasper, the glove, whether it's Laura Behrman, Iceman, just coming out of nowhere, knocking down threes. It's over. It is. I'm sorry. You got me all riled up now because I'm all excited.
It's a lot to be excited about. And I mean, I know that South Carolina's not, they're not like the cream of the crop in the conference, nothing, but like, Frank Martin is a very, very good coach. Whatever their record says, that's whatever. That guy's been a good coach for a very long time. And South Carolina fans, y'all have a basketball team. Come to the game.
I know. What that was so embarrassing for Frank Martin. Why? Like, that's what frustrates me is when you see programs go through a rough spell, and they have because they were at the Final Four a couple of years ago, and now just because you're kind of getting back to being decent again, you're still not going to show up to the game against Auburn, the best team, and to see them play. You're not going to watch. I mean, if nothing else, come watch Jabari Smith play and see if you can
A
contain him,
lot of
which
people
you
are making
did.
that comment on Twitter. Yeah, like just at least come see this top 3 pick.
And let's give a little, let's put full context here. I'm sure classes aren't back in session fully yet over there, so there's some of that. But has that been an excuse for Auburn fans? Nope. We're showing up.
Packed out. We was packed out.
Packed out. All right, there was a question. Let's do this. I'll have you end on this one. How many weeks till Auburn makes the top 3 in your opinion? Russell wants to know.
What's up, Russell? I mean this. I could not care less. I'm an Auburn basketball fan. I could not care less what our ranking is, what our seeding is. Guys, they're gonna screw us. Like it's gonna we might go like 30-3. I don't know exactly how many games we play, and they're gonna give us like a 6 seed or something. They don't like us. They don't like Bruce Pearl. It is what it is. Like so, what I don't know. Like whatever with rankings in basketball. Let's just get to the tournament and we'll play the games, and they will literally have to cheat us the way they did versus Virginia to beat us. That's the way I see it. So
I don't know that we can get the top 3 this year, even if we just won out, just because the nature of basketball. There's usually a lot of teams, fighting for the top 3 spots. I think top 5 is doable, especially the way we're playing right now. You beat Kentucky, you beat Alabama, you do those things, take care of business at home, especially, and maybe only drop 1 or 2 on the road. You could probably hit the top 5 this year. But again, like you said, rankings don't really matter in basketball that much. At least they matter a little bit, but not that much. But we got a good quad. People forgot last night. Last night was a quad 1 win. Were you aware of that? That was a quad 1 win because I think it's on the road. Top 75 RPI teams is a quad 1 win if you get it. If I'm doing my math correctly there. But anyway, team looks good. I'm excited, and yeah, good stuff.
I'll say this to Russell. I'll tell you where we're gonna finish, and that's holding that trophy in that net. So,
oh, buddy, I would be right. I'm not gonna say it though because I'm always the one that jinxes this, and I'm not gonna be responsible for causing Auburn fans hurt.
If you think I'm a sunshine pumper, ask me about football.
That's true. That's fair. I'm not gonna get you started on that tonight. We're gonna keep the good vibes going. Hey, Dusty, thanks for calling in, buddy.
All right, man. Love y'all. War Eagle.
All right, War Eagle. All right. I know we had one more caller who was trying to get in right then. You can call back if you'd like to. We got a few more minutes. I stay on the line, not a specific amount, but I will need to kind of get towards the end of the show here in a little bit. Keep the comments and questions. We got a great crowd here tonight. Thank you guys so much for a Wednesday night where we haven't really had too many set topics. We've been all over the place. But make sure you're smashing that like button if you haven't. Do that if you can for me. If you're not, subscribe, notification bell. We've already seen somebody else join up as a channel member. Check out all those links in the description for ways that you can support this type of content, whether it be a channel member here on YouTube for $1, or you can be a Booster Club member, or both. Got to come up with a name for those of you that are both, because that's incredible. But there you go. All right, we got our next caller. Ryan, what's going on, buddy? Thanks for your patience and waiting.
We spoke right before signing day.
Yeah.
I just want to say, right?
Mm-hmm.
I love what Harsin's doing in the recruiting game.
Right.
Let's see what happens with the Williams situation, which I'm starting to believe now.
Okay.
I'm riding that train.
You riding the train? Okay.
I'm ready to get hurt.
I'm ready to get hurt.
Because my cousin's an Alabama fan, and I just want to beat him. So,
hey, listen, we all got those people. My mom's an Alabama fan, and it hurts me to no end.
So
to know that every year.
I love. Just give them time. I know 6-6 is not 6-7 is not the prettiest of records.
Yeah,
there may have been some bad decisions on the field, but to get all these guys to not only stay, like Anders, like Owen Patbo to come back.
Yep.
Like Tank to come back.
Yep.
Like some of the D linemen after Easton left.
Yep.
Like
a lot of those people coming back.
Stay.
Yeah, it says a lot about the program that a lot of these guys want to come back for another year.
And most of them, I think, are bought into what Harsin has preached, whatever he preached behind the scenes.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm surprised how many guys actually did stay.
I know. I will be honest. I'm surprised too. So, who are you most excited about? Like, if you had to pick one of the guys that decided to come back, who are you most
Owen,
excited
honestly. Owen and Colby.
Yep. Owen's a big one because I think, I don't see if you agree with me. I know he's going to be the leader of the defense. You know, usually your linebacker is kind of the quarterback of the defense. But do you think he's going to be the leader of the team?
Kind of. And here's why I say kind of, right? If Caleb comes in, he might lead this team. Who knows?
Yeah.
But to have that dude right next to these young guys, the Jeffrey Imbas coming in.
Mm-hmm.
We know how much of a stud he's going to be. Hopefully he turns out like a Derek Brown. Hopefully.
Yep, I agree. I'm
and
super excited for him.
Hopefully he's going to. And I just don't want it to be a 2019 season where we waste Owen Papo's senior year.
But is it a waste if we don't win a national championship? Is it a waste?
I would say it's a waste if we don't be competitive with Bama.
That's fair. I can get on board with that. That is a very fair statement.
If we don't put up a good game against Bama, I think it's a waste of all these guys coming back. So
was this year a waste since we were super competitive?
Kind of in an extent.
To an extent, okay.
What I say to an extent is Ole Miss, Arkansas, those were great wins. But I think we were right there in these close games. We just need to find a way to finish.
Absolutely. I said it already on previous streams that the story of this year is not that they couldn't be competitive, but they just couldn't finish. And that's really all it amounts down to, is because they were very weak in some areas. When the thing was on the line, the win was there, couldn't finish it out. And that's
like
really
A&M, for example.
Yep.
Like we were competitive, guys, against these top 10 teams. It's not like we're like a New Mexico State going against Alabama and getting blown out like we did last year.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
It's like kind of going in there, right? And we're in the SEC West and we play like it.
Right. Yep. So how about this? So with the way you're excited about the guys coming back, I know we're a long way off from 2022 starting, but with everything that you're saying, buying into the system, the guys coming back, what's your early prediction for wins in 2022?
I think we finish. How many games will we play?
You'll play 12 games in the regular season. Potentially you'll play 3 more in the postseason.
Our ceiling, I think, is about 11-1.
11-1 ceiling. Okay, all right. So you who would we lose to in that scenario at this moment?
I think we A&M, looking at their recruiting class and everything.
Yeah, it's potential. It's gonna be hard to beat Bryce Young coming back too with a second year under his belt as the Bama quarterback.
I will never say we'll lose to them. I will never say it.
Hey, listen, I get that. I 100% understand that, because I don't want to say it either. But sometimes you got to just look across the other side and go, well, it's going to be tough, and it may be tough next year too.
If we do, that's the current roster right now. But if we get Caleb and Mario and all them to come, I think that we have a shot at the Natty next year. I think we have a shot.
Possible. It is absolutely possible. Anything was possible with Auburn. I always say this: if Chris Davis can run it back 109 yards, anything is possible for Auburn. Ryan, buddy, thank you so much for calling in tonight. I appreciate hearing from you. Please do call again.
War Eagle.
War Eagle, buddy. Thank you. I just realized I said again. I got to learn to talk if I'm going to do this thing. All right. We are winding down the show here, but please do get your last minute comments and questions in the down there. I'll give you kind of an update, some housekeeping things before we get out of here, but we're not going just yet. As I've already talked to you guys about, check out links in the description. Thank you to people who are our Booster Club members, who are our channel members, who are both. Big Simp became one tonight. Thank you so much for doing that and being a part of our support program to help our content keep coming out on a regular basis. And that means so much to me that you'd be willing to do that. We don't have any more planned live streams for the rest of this week. However, we might do another one after the basketball game this Saturday, so you may want to stay tuned. We will definitely be back next Wednesday with a live stream, just like tonight, open mic night. You can call in and have your voice heard here tonight. Other things to keep in mind, podcasts coming out this week. There will be another Inside the Jungle or two by the time we get back. Stay tuned to those. And we're working on a lot of things behind the scenes that you might have coming out for you in the near future. So stay tuned for that coming up very, very soon. Let's see. Another question here. What do you think it will be like when we move to 14 regular season games with Oklahoma and Texas coming? If that were reality, that'd be lovely because I love as much college football as we can get. But, I think you're saying that a little bit tongue in cheek there. I think our SEC games will increase, but I don't think we'll get any more college football games if certain people can help it. Yes, Dusty is hyped for basketball. Baseball is coming as well. We will figure out how we're going to do all those things. I know a lot of you have asked that previously. We'll be discussing baseball in here. The answer is yes. It's just kind of like we've done here with the figuring out basketball. We're going to figure out how it best works out with the format of how I do things here. Do you think we can beat Mercer game 1? Oh, yes. Mercer ain't ready to come in here and compete with us. But yeah. But I agree. Everybody stay safe out there. Thank you guys so much for tuning in tonight. I am going to have to sign off just a few minutes early. There's a lot of great content for Auburn out there on YouTube tonight. Make sure you go over there and say hello to anybody who's doing anything like that. And just tell them that E2C sent you and say War Eagle for us. Keep the love going around to the other Auburn content creators out there. You guys are the best little family within the Auburn family. And I'll talk to you very soon. Stay tuned on social media and here on this channel. War Eagle.